thank God it's finally over. If someone had told me how annoying organizing a big wedding could be, I would have given up on the whole thing right away. But as usually happens, the whole truth becomes clear gradually, and most of all when it is already too late. I was already married, really happily married, and I was finally able to truly appreciate the fact that my late wife Julie agreed to a small wedding. It was a beautiful, cozy ceremony without too much fuss, just a few friends and family. Very quiet, very romantic. But no, of course my new bride Rachel wanted everything at once. A big, no, huge wedding with all the attendant attributes. I don't care if the colors of the napkins match the flowers. No, that's for sure. But for everyone else it seemed to be vital. It is not difficult to guess that everyone else in this case consisted exclusively of women. My future father-in-law wisely stayed away. So I was at the mercy of my mother-in-law, my fiancée Rachel, and her best friend Amber. Of course, I was formally asked questions, such as whether to decorate the church with roses or lilies. But everyone considered me incompetent in such matters, which was close to the truth. I tried to object sometimes, remembering my wonderful, modest ceremony with Julie, but my objections were ignored. Hell, these remarks even drew openly hostile looks for some reason. Yes, I've been in love before. Deeply, completely in love. And I lost my beloved wife due to some ridiculous accident. But did that mean I should never mention her again? Declare her persona non grata? Deny its existence? Never. Rachel knew about my past from the very beginning, and Julie was a part of me and always will be. However, after being forced to feign interest in an endless number of small decisions for several weeks, I felt like we deserved a break. It seemed that everything was settled and things were generally going as usual. Even minor questions about the type of umbrella that would protect the bride in case of sudden rain and the type of car that would take us from church to party were resolved. I felt that the possibility of a surprise nuclear attack and the color of the ABC suits were the only unresolved issues, but I wisely decided not to mention it. In any case, everyone seemed pleased with the state of the preparations, and I felt that there was only one urgent matter left to do. It was a reconnection with the woman I was soon to marry and who already seemed a little distant to me, which I attributed to the level of stress caused by wedding planning. Rachel accepted my past with Julie from the beginning and helped me overcome my demons. She pulled me out of the deep depression I had fallen into and returned me to the world of the living. She was even very understanding when I sometimes accidentally called her Julie when making love, which I think was happening less and less. Over time, I fell in love with Rachel, perhaps even as deeply as I fell in love with Julie. Despite her understanding, she banned several photographs of Julie from my home after she moved in with me. She was also very sensitive when I suggested that she dress more like Julie, so I put the issue aside for a while. We argued about my desire to keep some of Julie's knickknacks and her desire to redecorate the rooms. It wasn't easy, but we both knew it wouldn't be easy. But in the end, we managed and found a way to live together. Our happiness and love grew day by day until I finally decided to propose to her. Yes, she agreed. But to my surprise, she did it after an appallingly long time of deliberation. It was really unexpected and a little disappointing. She pursued me so persistently and relentlessly that I simply assumed that this was what she dreamed of. But she just stared at me with a blank expression that seemed to last for hours, when in reality it could have only been seconds. Yes, Alex, I want to marry you. But, but what? Alex, you know things haven't been so easy for me here lately. What do you mean, Julie? She just looked at me with a pained expression on her face. Oh, damn. Rachel. I meant Rachel, of course. Alex, you're a wonderful guy, and I know you've been through hell. I also believe you when you say you love me, but I'm afraid you love more than one woman. Rachel, please believe me. I'm just too used to the name Julie. I love you. I love only you. She sobbed and threw herself into my arms. Yes, Alex, I will marry you. But please don't hurt me too much, okay? I won't, Rachel. I won't. It wasn't my finest hour, but I hoped that my little mistake wouldn't ruin our relationship too much. After this, a slight shadow seemed to hover over us, but the real reason was unclear to me, as the stress of preparation soon began to take its toll. My plan was to reconnect with Rachel, who had become even a little irritable after throwing a surprise weekend at the northern resort. Her mood had been worsening throughout the preparation phase, and despite being involved in it, it didn't seem to make her happy at all. In any case, it has already been done. All we had to do was actually get married, and I sincerely hoped that my surprise weekend would be successful. I was determined to avoid mention of Julie and the details of the wedding at all costs. Ugh, Alex. This time I even got a kiss, which has become quite rare. Romantic weekend at the spa. Oh, honey, that's so sweet. Thank you. She seemed delighted, and I suddenly realized how tense I had been, obviously afraid of being rejected again. But my surprise was right on target. Wonderful. Exactly what was needed to mend our tense relationship. Yep, I've been here before. The hotel is pretty nice. They have a great spa area. Julie especially loved the seafood restaurant. You'll see, it'll be amazing. Crap, I mentioned Julie again. I scolded myself, but other than a quick weird look, Rachel didn't react to it. We arrived at the hotel early, and despite the bad weather, everything was almost perfect. The hotel was very nice, the spa looked great, and our room was absolutely wonderful. I thought we would have a good time here, getting closer to each other again. We could improve our relationship, and in this process, nothing would interfere with us sexually. Wow, this number is amazing, Alex. Yes, when it clears up, you can even see the lake from here. It looks absolutely romantic. Oh, how sweet. How do you know? I've been in this room before. Oh, you've been here before. Well, yes, I've been here before. With Julie, of course, but this time I successfully avoided mentioning her. About. She seemed a little puzzled. Did you specifically ask for this number? Yes, I like him. It's clear. She looked a little annoyed, and I started to get a little annoyed myself. Why did I have to deny my past with Julie? Rachel, of course, knew I loved her. Why was she so unsure? Is it such a big deal to use the same room I was in with my late wife? I had good memories of this room, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. The weather quickly deteriorated, and shortly after our arrival, a heavy snowstorm began. Michael, the nice guy at the front desk, informed us that we were stuck at the hotel for a few days. This worried me the least. On the contrary, it seemed romantic, and I didn't plan to leave our room often. Just to satisfy the most basic nutritional needs and relax at the spa every now and then. I was even glad that any activity on the street became impossible. More romantic time for us, I remarked to Rachel. She seemed less enthusiastic for some reason. I just hope I can get back to work on time, she replied surprisingly sharply. A quiet warning bell about irritability rang in my head. Let's eat, okay? They have a wonderful restaurant. Cold. I asked the waiter for a table, and we were lucky. He was free. Don't tell me you were at that table with Julie. Yes, there's a good view from here. Should I wear a wig? Wig? Yeah, and dress like Julie, maybe. Rachel, don't be funny. Alex, this has to stop. You knew about my past from the very beginning. Yes, but I don't have to relive your life with her. I'm Rachel. I'm not some replacement for Julie. Rachel, I am me. Julie is a big part of me and my past. So I'll have to share you with another woman for the rest of my life. Divide me. I don't see it that way. I see. Well, I can't change that. Now I was a little upset. If that's how you see it, yes, you'll have to share me with my late wife. You always knew how much I loved her. Well, if I have to share with you, you better watch it, buddy. Maybe this will teach you a thing or two about sharing a spouse, she exclaimed loudly. I knew this would not be easy for her, and perhaps it would be better to be more diplomatic. But it was a sore spot for me too, and before I could say anything else, she left the table. A buffet was prepared for lunch at the hotel. Rachel went there, and after a while I decided it was best to follow her to talk to her and calm the situation down. She was ahead of me in line, and I saw a handsome, large man clearly showing interest in her. He talked to her, she laughed, he touched her hand, she lightly put her hand on his. They almost looked like a happy couple. I'm not prone to jealousy, but this was a little unsettling. I felt my pulse quicken a little. Was this some kind of retribution? I watched in amazement as they continued to get along well. They joked and put food on each other's plates, giggling like teenagers. After their plates were full, they chose a small table for two. It gave me chills. What was she thinking? Finally, I got to the line, grabbed a chair from a nearby table, and sat down at their table. "Hi, I'm Alex, Rachel's fiancé," I said, holding out my hand to him. That idiot didn't even acknowledge my presence, let alone look my way or shake my hand. I pulled my hand away, which made Rachel laugh. It was painful. Damn, she was clearly trying to hurt me. "Rachel, what are you doing here?" I started to get seriously irritated. People around us began to notice the scene. It got pretty awkward, but it had to be done. Rachel decided to join in his game of completely ignoring me. They both seemed to be having a great time, ignoring me and continuing their conversation about insignificant things. I stayed at their table out of stubbornness. Retreating was not an option, so I endured it even though I felt deeply humiliated. They discussed many things: their jobs, the hotel, their families. But Rachel managed to completely avoid mentioning me or our upcoming wedding. "You're such a wonderful woman, Rachel. I'm so glad we met here, and I can't believe you're here alone. Danny, I think you're very attractive too, and I'm glad we ended up here together during the snowfall. I believe we'll have a wonderful time here." "Rachel," I screamed loudly. Now everyone was looking in our direction, but I didn't care. They still managed to calmly ignore me. This was not the best way to treat my future husband, as I thought while I was seething with anger. After a while, Rachel even leaned across the table and kissed him on the lips. Everyone around was gasping in surprise. It was painful. It really hurt me physically when I was forced to watch it. I'm not violent, so there was no way for me to physically prevent this from happening. I also didn't want to leave them alone and walk away in defeat. But she will certainly hear from me when we are alone. "Rachel, if you'd rather stay with me, you better stop this stupid game right now." "Danny, why don't you show me your room? I think it's too noisy in here." Even that idiot Danny seemed a little surprised by her boldness. But of course, he didn't object in any way. They got up and left, leaving me dumbfounded. Finally, seeing no other options, I went to our room, feeling the eyes of the entire restaurant on me and experiencing complete humiliation. I couldn't physically force her to stay faithful, could I? If she chose to leave, there was nothing I could do about it. But I was too stunned and hurt to think about the long-term consequences at that moment. I sat in my room for a while, trying to read without success. I was furious, hurt, sad, frustrated, and most of all, completely powerless. I also had serious doubts about marriage. Finally, my numb brain was able to formulate an idea. I asked Michael, the nice guy at the front desk, to give me Danny's room number. He was very understanding, but said he couldn't tell me the room number, even if it was number 107. I put on warm clothes and walked around the hotel. 107 was on the ground floor and visible from the outside, as Michael told me. I found the room and was surprised to find that they didn't even bother to close the curtains. They kissed on the couch, looking very comfortable with each other. But at least I was relieved to see that they were fully clothed. I took a photo of them with my phone. It was dark outside, and there was light in the room. After a while, they saw me standing and looking inside. Rachel screamed at first, then apparently calmed down and pointed at me. They both waved in my direction, grinning, and started kissing again, no doubt doing it for my benefit. I took one more photo and left. It was too much for me. I feared that the disrespect alone was enough to cause irreparable damage to our relationship. I waited in my room for ages again and became a nervous wreck, unable to do anything and hating myself for it. I really wish I could be strong and arrogant at this moment, but unfortunately, I still loved her. Late at night, I walked into a restaurant and saw them sitting there. They looked like a couple, hugging, having a good time. I took more photos before I decided to order room service to avoid further humiliation. I expected her to come to our room after dinner to mend fences, but I waited in vain. At about 10 p.m., I went to check their room again. This time the curtains were closed, but the gaps were large enough to see inside. The lights were dimmed, and I could see them kissing again. I tried to remain calm for the moment and view the scene as if it didn't concern me, so I was hoping to take more photos. I went back to our room, cried a little, punched the bed a few times, uploaded photos to cloud storage, and was finally able to fall asleep with the help of sleeping pills. I woke up around 9 in the morning. Rachel sat on a chair and looked at me calmly. I didn't say anything, and neither did she. I was no longer angry, just sad. There were too many could-haves running through my head. It could have been my wife. We could have children. All this disappeared in a few hours. She didn't even look as sorry as I thought. She seemed rather pleased. Either she was completely unaware of the implications for our future, or she simply didn't care. Perhaps destroying our relationship was her plan all along. She could have made it easier and less painful. Feeling better? She asked. No. I'm going to spend the day with Danny, and the entire time we're here until we can leave. We've already moved my things to his room. After that, I'll be yours again, at least until you mention Julie again. She explained this very calmly. No, I said this in the same neutral tone. It's already decided. Try to have a good time here. And with these words, she left. I couldn't believe how arrogant she suddenly became. Has she changed, or have I judged her so poorly all this time? Obviously, she had no intention of ending our relationship. She just wanted to teach me something. No, really. Of course, I was a little thoughtless when I mentioned Julie again and again. But such a reaction was completely inappropriate. We're done, I thought. The problem was that I had to stay in the hotel. My desire was simply to run, to escape this terrible situation, my feelings of powerlessness and humiliation, and most importantly, Rachel. But I couldn't help it. I spent some time just staring at the wall and letting my thoughts run in agonizing circles. No, it didn't lead anywhere. Rumination did not improve anything. It only deprived me of my mental health. I needed a distraction until I could leave this terrible mess behind me. Okay, I could eat something, I thought. As I was walking to breakfast, my new friend Michael stopped me. You don't have to put up with this. I've lived here for a long time. I know the weather. The roads will only be open for a short time today. I think in about an hour or two, you'll be able to leave, following the supply truck. We won't inform other guests about this possibility for security reasons. But you can handle it, you can do it. He looked genuinely sympathetic. Thank you, Michael. I sincerely appreciated this and thanked him generously. It seemed to me that he simply saved my life. Every minute I spent here further eroded my self-esteem. Just being able to escape made me feel better. I gathered my things, checked out, and waited in the car until the truck pulled out. He cleared the road a little and could pull me out if I got stuck. But I got to the highway without the slightest problem. The trip home seemed endless. My brain was still struggling to cope with what had just happened, and my mood was as gloomy as the weather. One thing was clear: the wedding would be canceled. I would cancel everything. The whole mass of meaningless decisions turned out to be completely unnecessary. It made me feel good. No one will ever know if the dessert was truly appropriate for a winter wedding. I stayed in our hometown mainly because of Rachel. I've had much better job offers elsewhere, including a particularly attractive one in San Francisco. It really hurt me to give him up, but Rachel insisted on staying close to her family, and I agreed. I was now free to check if this offer was still available. I felt almost relieved. After the horror I had experienced, I felt a sense of freedom. New opportunities, a new life opened up before me, and for the first time I thought that the danger was truly over. I wasn't married yet and could just walk away without any consequences. But on the other hand, I didn't propose to her without a reason. I really loved this one, I really did. But her actions at the hotel made leaving her surprisingly easy. The mere memory of recent events was enough to burn away any feelings of remorse that tried to surface. I knew the pain would come, but right now I had to focus on my future. At home, I immediately canceled all wedding reservations. Hall, catering, DJ, everything. And I sent cancel invitations to everyone who was invited. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we are sorry to announce that we are forced to cancel our wedding. Neutral wording. I could have used much stronger language, but I didn't feel the need to make these things public. I then called the owner of the company in San Francisco and explained my situation very honestly. Come here, Alex. We'll find you a place to live, and you can get a job either way. In fact, I'm glad your ex was so stupid. He even laughed a little. I had to agree with myself. I couldn't share his humorous take on the situation, at least not yet. But in a way, I was happy too. If she had cheated on me 6 months later, it would have been much worse. I'm glad she showed her true colors early enough. It still hurts, of course. The fact that I lost the woman I loved was as painful as the circumstances. I quit my job, packed my things in the car, and left our shared apartment. The trip to San Francisco would take 4 or 5 days, and I was really looking forward to it. Expectation of solitude, silence, and the opportunity to calm down and think about your life. After 2 days of reflective, angry, self-blaming, and painful travel, my phone rang. This is Alex. Alex, honey. This is Rachel. We have a mobile network again, thank God. Even the roads will be cleared soon. I didn't answer, too stunned. All the pain came back. Why did I even pick up the phone? I didn't have anything to say to her. Damn, I should have checked the caller ID first. I couldn't believe how calm she seemed. Alex, are you still here? Yes. How do you feel? Not very good. Me too. Alex, honey, did you cancel the wedding? My parents called me. Yes, of course. What did you expect? That I would marry you? Seriously. Alex, please. I know you're hurt, but please don't be dramatic. This was just to show you how painful it is to share a spouse. I'm sorry if it got out of hand, but I'm yours. Nothing has to change. At this moment, I am a woman for only one man. Maybe, but that man won't be me. What? Alex, come on. I know you're hurt, but it was really nothing. This guy was never important. I was so angry at you and so hurt. Okay, what I did was completely disproportionate. Let me fix this, okay? I don't care how you justify it or how you see it. All I had to do was make a decision. And that's what I decided. We're breaking up for good. Should I send the pictures to your parents and ask their opinion? Alex, I hope I can leave here soon. Could you come pick me up? No. Why? I don't want to. You're not my responsibility anymore. And I'm not even in the area. Alex, where are you? Let's see. The sign says this is Kearney, Nebraska. Are you kidding? No. I'm going to California, starting a new life without you. Alex, she was crying now. Please don't leave me. It didn't mean anything to us. I was just angry and things got out of control. I'm so sorry. Maybe it didn't mean anything to you. For me, it was a complete nightmare, the worst time of my life, and the ultimate end of our relationship. Alex, please turn around. We can still fix this. No, I don't even want to fix it. You publicly humiliated me for 2 days. It wasn't a momentary mistake. You had many hours to think about what you were doing. And you intentionally hurt me and openly cheated on me. Tried to make me a cuckold. I have no interest in you anymore. Live well. And I hung up. The phone immediately rang again. I added her number to the ignore list. Finally, I was able to continue my journey in silence. Unfortunately, my newfound calm disappeared again. I hit the steering wheel every now and then, unable to decide whether I was angry or sad. The silence did not last long. About an hour later, the phone rang again. Alex is online. Alex, this is Carl, Rachel's father. Hi, Carl. Alex, what's going on? Did you cancel the wedding? Yes, no. It was Rachel who canceled her out with her behavior during our trip, actually. Alex, it can't be that bad, right? Let's see. She was clearly flirting with another man in a restaurant. She ignored me when I tried to stop her when she kissed him in public. She publicly announced that she would go to his room and did so. She spent the whole night with him. She came to my room to announce that she was going to spend the whole weekend with him. The whole hotel knew about it. What do you think about it? I really can't believe it. It must be some kind of misunderstanding. Do you want pictures of this misunderstanding? I have plenty of them. While they are kissing in the restaurant, while they are cuddling romantically in his room, while they are having sex in his room. They weren't even trying to be discreet, they were having fun teasing me. There was silence for a moment. I'm sorry. Alex, you're right. She's clearly not ready for marriage. I have to apologize on behalf of my daughter. I hope we can stay in touch. Of course, Carl. I've always liked you and Sue. It would be great to have you as relatives. Yeah, that's sad. What are you going to do now? I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to build a new life there. Good luck, Alex. You're a good person. Goodbye, Carl. Damn, this call is a little sick again. My future collapsed in just a few days. I imagined that Carl would now have a serious conversation with Rachel. He was a man without unnecessary words. During the rest of the trip, I received calls from several friends. I didn't give them any details, but I think most had at least a rough idea of why Rachel and I broke up. I had to promise to tell them my new address as soon as I received it. Finally, the calls subsided, and I was able to continue to start my new life and leave the old behind. Easier said than done. My thoughts kept going back to Rachel and the good times we had, and to that terrible weekend. 2 months later in San Francisco, on a Friday evening, my doorbell rang. I reluctantly opened the door, expecting Jehovah's Witnesses, but it turned out to be much worse. Rachel stood in the doorway, dressed to the nines, looking beautiful and nervous. I immediately slammed the door. Of course she called again, but I turned off the doorbell. Damn, how did she find me? Where should I go now? To Bora Bora. And I realized that I couldn't avoid her if she really meant it. Reluctantly, I opened the door. It's better to finish this right away. But she's already gone. Fine. I woke up at 9 in the morning. There's that damn doorbell again. I dragged myself sleepily to the door and opened it. Rachel again. Without a word, I stepped aside and let her in, resigned to my fate. There was no point in postponing a conversation that was inevitable. At least this farce will end today. Quietly, I went into the kitchen and started making coffee while she watched me in silence. I silently handed her a cup and took one for myself. We walked silently into the living room, sat down and began drinking coffee, still in silence. She looked good. I could see that she really tried to look the way I liked. But this did not change anything. My feelings for this woman disappeared, and this realization calmed me greatly. I could meet her without unwanted feelings, without weakness. Alex, she croaked. Ah, she could talk. More or less, it seemed like it was difficult for her. I'm really sorry. I remained silent, not to make it difficult for her, but at this moment nothing needed to be said. I behaved completely inappropriately. I just nodded. And I'm sorry it took me so long to find you. Of course, you can mention Julie whenever you want. I just have to accept it. I was so insecure. I thought you didn't really love me, that I'm just a convenient replacement for Julie. You left her pictures on the walls. You called me Julie when we made love. You kept her picture in your wallet. Then you had this wonderful idea to take her, me, to this spa hotel. I was on cloud nine, only to realize that it was just a repeat of your life with her. It was more than I could bear. I just lost my temper. Rachel, I know I should have been more sensitive when I mentioned her. It wasn't nice, and I'm sorry, but that's no reason to publicly humiliate me and openly cheat on me. I know. Don't you think I didn't beat myself up over and over again for this? We looked at each other in silence, not sure how to continue. How did you even find me? I think all our friends have your address, but no one wanted to give you away. I had to trick someone by taking his phone without his knowledge. I was pleased to hear this. I had good friends. I moved out of our apartment and quit my job. I rented an apartment just 1 block away and am now looking for a job. I was surprised, but it didn't change anything, and I definitely wasn't going to answer. I didn't like this because it obviously meant she would be haunting me for the foreseeable future. It would make my life difficult, but I felt strong enough to face it. Alex, I know I behaved badly in that hotel. I intentionally hurt you and humiliated you. I drove you away from me. You had no choice but to leave me. At first, I didn't even know why I did it. It's hard to understand because I loved you then, and I still love you, but I didn't like Danny. He was physically attractive, but I didn't even like him that much. I desperately tried to explain to my parents and myself why I did it. At first, I tried to convince myself and them that it started as a lesson to show you what it's like to share a spouse with someone else, and that the lesson had gotten out of hand. But after a while, I realized that it wasn't really so. It wasn't just a lesson. I knew from the very beginning that it would hurt you. So what's the real reason? My father told me that maybe I was just jealous. You always described Julie as absolutely perfect to me. She was obviously the most beautiful woman in the world to you and the epitome of feminine perfection. You never didn't mention a single argument. She stood on a huge pedestal, and I felt like I couldn't compete with her. I felt so intimidated by her presence that I even hesitated to accept your offer, even though it was my biggest dream. Rachel, I'm sorry, I really am. Of course, Julie had her faults. Of course, we fought. But I suppressed thoughts about those aspects after her death. It felt inappropriate, as if it was desecrating her memory. I'm sorry if I portrayed her like that for you. Of course, you could compete with her. I loved you as much as I loved her. Oh, Alex. She sobbed and was about to rush towards me. Wait a minute. I said you could compete with her, and I was talking about the past. Now you can't because something has seriously tainted my image of you. Alex, just give me a chance to prove to you that I can fix this, make amends somehow. Maybe I can just stay by your side until you trust me again. I'll be patient. You can even exalt Julie if you want. I'll learn to live with it. I don't know. It's not that simple. I will try to get you back any way I can, no matter how long it takes. Quite an impressive speech, Rachel. I believe you. Thank you for talking to me again. She was clearly unsure what my neutral response meant to her. You're welcome. I'm actually surprised how calm I am today. Sorry about yesterday. It was rude. I was surprised. Don't worry. Alex, how do you feel about me now? I still love you, only you. I haven't been with a man since that fateful night, and I've only had sex with him once. I'm pretty calm now. I think I've mostly gotten over you. Aren't you angry anymore? No, but I also don't love you anymore. She flinched, but soon recovered. It's bad, but it won't stop me. It could be worse. You fell in love with me before. You can do it again. And this time, I'll be kinder to you. Rachel, I may be calm towards you now, but I also don't know how I can trust you again. Of course, I misbehaved in some way, but your reaction was completely disproportionate. I will always wait until the other shoe will drop. Rebuilding trust in you isn't even a goal for me right now. You can trust me, I will never be that stupid again. And if we ever get back together, we will have a contract. If you leave me for any reason, I will have nothing. No money, no access to our children. The same thing, if I leave you, you will get everything. But it will never happen anyway. Children, I couldn't help but laugh. Yes, in the unlikely event that we get back together, I want them. Here's the contract. Surprised that she had already prepared something, I read it and immediately saw that it was extremely strict. If we break up for any reason, she won't get anything, not even custody or visitation rights to potential children. I assumed it wasn't even legal. Carl wrote this. Yes, is it obvious? He really made you do it, I guess. Yes, and Mom too, and most of our friends. They all seem to have at least a rough idea of. What happened, I don't know how. Not from me, I only told Carl about it. I know. Leave the contract, it's already signed. You don't have to sign it, just put it in the safe. Okay, to respect Carl's efforts. But I don't want to be with you just because the contract obliges you. And the main problem remains I don't love you anymore. I don't trust you anymore, I'm not even sure that I like you. The last statement shocked her a little. Don't even like me. Well, I think I understand. I hurt you badly, even cruelly, and for no reason. Alex, how about you show me San Francisco? I'm new here, so you can experience me for strength, just by spending time with me. Let's just be friends. That's it. Did I want to avoid her? Would it be like running away and hiding from her? That would be a weakness. No, I decided that I could maintain friendly relations with her. I have to admit that despite everything I said, I still loved her, and I didn't want to feel like a coward by continuing to run away from her. And I had no friends here at all. Company would have been more than welcome. It was good for proving that I had gotten over her, just spending time with her without falling in love again. I'm not very familiar with San Francisco either, but I think I can show you a few places that I know. Thanks, Alex. But first, I'll make breakfast. She walked into the kitchen humming and singing. She might have been too confident, I thought. Not my problem. Her presence no longer bothered me, but I also did not see the possibility of our resumption of relations. It just wasn't attractive, with or without a contract. Over the next weeks, she missed every opportunity to spend time with me. The subsequent scenes were almost comical. She usually wore fairly revealing clothes and touched me whenever she thought it was possible. One time when we were in my kitchen, she was wearing a very loose t-shirt and tried to lean forward whenever possible. I could see her breasts if I wanted, but for some reason I didn't even want to watch. But if she wanted to play with me, I was ready. Smiling internally, I looked almost everywhere except her cleavage. She followed my gaze most of the time, trying to place her breasts in my line of sight. Finally, I decided to stop it before I couldn't stop laughing and left the room with some excuse. A few days later, back at my apartment, she tried a different tactic. This time, she chose shorts for seduction. I was glad she didn't wear it outside since it was cut like a Brazilian bikini. In addition, the appropriate shoes for this outfit, in her opinion, were high-heeled shoes, and she spent most of that day looking for something at floor level, leaning away from me and keeping her legs straight. You seem to be looking for something, Rachel. Is there anything I can do to help? What? No, it's okay. I just thought I might have lost my earring somewhere around here. It's clear. I could hardly contain my laughter. The next day we went shopping, and she was pressed against me the whole time. I could count the minutes when her breasts didn't touch any part of my body on the fingers of one hand. But of course, I pretended not to notice anything. It was fun for me. But it must have been frustrating as hell for Rachel. She was obviously burning for me, while I was constantly repulsed by her and her charms. This probably began to erode her self-esteem. I didn't want to hurt her, but I certainly wasn't going to sleep with her just to make her feel better. She decided to get me back the cheap way, and if it didn't work, it wasn't my problem. I felt sorry for her, but giving up would have been even worse. It would just fill her with false hopes. As a couple, we were finished. Wearing a loose t-shirt or short shorts will not change this. Of course, she didn't like it, but she was smart enough not to complain or jeopardize our fragile newfound friendship. Rachel and I were sitting in my living room a few weeks later. Her attacks had subsided a bit by then. Alex, when are you going to have sex with me again? She asked suddenly. What? Of course, I knew all along what she wanted. But she surprised me by asking so openly about it. She should have known the reasons well enough. You can at any time, you certainly know that. Just for you, without any obligations. Just sex, not love. Ah, Rachel, I don't know. She stood up and knelt in front of me. Please, I'm ready to beg if necessary. I was completely unsure how to gently reject her. She was certainly a beautiful woman. If she weren't Rachel, I would have sex with her in a heartbeat. but unfortunately, she was Rachel. The same Rachel who coldly told me, "It's already decided. Try to have a good time here." While I was still deep in thought, she took off her sweater, which I thought was a rather unfair move. I was relieved to see that she was wearing a t-shirt underneath. Surprisingly, it had large text on it. Where her beautiful breasts bulged out, it was written, "Alex's girl." I was still stunned until she turned around, smiling, to show me her back. Same text, just as big. Wow. Beautiful, isn't it? Yes. My responses were a little slow. I bought 20 of these and plan to wear them all the time. I will be proud to show off the t-shirt to everyone. Well, technically, I know it's not entirely true, but I want to make my intentions known. Rachel, things between us may be a little more complicated than you think. I know I can't get away with this so easily, but I wanted to show you my commitment and scare off the competition. But I need your consent to wear this in public. If I agree, I'll have to give you back. Yes. Her eyes lit up, and I felt sorry for her, but there was nothing I could do about it. That's impossible. Let's stay friends, okay? Her expression immediately changed, and she looked at me through her tears, but she tried to remain strong. Okay, Alex, I'll do whatever you say. Sorry for bringing it up. I didn't mean to pressure you. I'm sorry too, Rachel. It's amazing that I can spend time with you in a relaxed environment again, but that's all I'm willing to do. Understand? Wow, how disappointed she was. Her face actually fell when she heard this. Alex, I still have time. I have no other plans for the rest of my life. I will continue to try to win you back. I just sighed. I couldn't find the right words. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to stop her from moving on. But I also didn't know how to stop her from dreaming. And this is how we lived for several months. Rachel definitely wanted more, but was careful to avoid pressure. Her hopes were obviously high, but I was quite determined to avoid any kind of real relationship with her. I even told her about it, but it didn't seem to dampen her efforts. Then my life took another unexpected turn. I returned home late at night and was annoyed to find that the lights were not working again. I was trying to walk through the almost complete darkness when my foot hit something soft. Kicking myself for not thinking of this sooner, I finally used my phone as a flashlight. A small woman lay curled up on the cold floor. "Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you." Well, not too smart, but what else could I say? No reaction. "Hello, hello." Still no reaction. Damn, what now? I couldn't possibly leave her lying here on the cold concrete floor, could I? Having no better idea, I took her and her small backpack to my apartment. I was amazed at how light it was. She was quite dirty, and under her long, tangled blonde hair, I saw a beautiful face. She seemed healthy, but was fast asleep. So I decided to take her to the guest bedroom, cover her with blankets, and go to bed myself. My reaction may have seemed a little strange, but I was dead tired, and in my foggy mind, this seemed like the best solution. I woke up a little confused because it was still dark. I'm not sure what happened was what I thought it was. Perhaps I dreamed it. Anyway, it seems I had sex with this stranger. Or maybe I just dreamed. Just as quickly and unexpectedly as it began, it ended. She just wordlessly disappeared into the guest bedroom in complete darkness. I briefly wondered if she was even human because she seemed to have some sort of ability to see in the dark. Before I had a chance to think about it, I quickly fell asleep again. Perhaps it was some kind of strange dream. The next morning, I heard her singing in the shower. She appeared shortly after while I was busy with breakfast. She was overly thin, too thin for my taste, but she had a very sweet face and a pleasant smile. The situation was a bit tense for me, while she seemed quite relaxed, seriously emptying my food supplies while humming. We didn't talk much, and we certainly didn't discuss last night. Finally, she just got up, went to the guest bedroom, got dressed, and headed to the front door. My brain was about half a mile behind current events. "Thank you, you're a really nice guy," she said, and disappeared from my life as quickly as she had appeared. What the hell was that? Have I become a little slow, or have things moved too quickly? I realized that I had just had sex with a woman without even knowing her name, which was completely out of my style. My spontaneous visit to the doctor revealed that I had no immediately detectable STDs. Some other tests will take time. I promised to turn on my brain before sexual activity in the future. Of course, Rachel continued to actively try, but much to her disappointment, I still didn't want to be more than friends. I simply could not imagine myself again in her power, as I had in that damned hotel. Of course, she saw it differently, but she was well aware of who had ruined everything, and who would leave instantly if she began to push too hard. So she wisely kept her ideas about marriage, children, a dog, and a fence around the house at a fairly low level. I think we both enjoyed our time together, though. I still found her physically attractive, but the burning love I once felt seemed just a distant memory. A few months later, we were in my apartment getting ready to have dinner when the doorbell rang. "I'll open it," Rachel said and jumped up. This has always been important to her. She wanted to answer the call and the phone. It was her way of claiming that she was still my woman. I saw it differently, but did not see the need to clarify anything. I knew I was using her somehow, keeping her close, enjoying her friendship. She still hoped for more, and I never explained to her that her aspirations were completely futile. She probably suspected it and suffered, but her resolve never weakened. After so many months, it still surprised me because she was beautiful and could have a better relationship with any other man. However, she stubbornly chose to bring me back. I snapped out of my thoughts, turned around, and saw my mysterious guest standing at the door. She looked as thin as ever, but her belly was disproportionately large. Rachel looked a little surprised, and although I never mentioned this episode, she clearly had some idea of the implications of the woman's visit and her condition. "Please come in," she said calmly. "Join us for dinner. My name is Rachel." Annie. Without further ado, Annie joined us at the table and began to eat with gusto. "I'm pregnant," she said. "Okay, we already guessed this. The interesting part is yet to come. He is yours." She pointed her fork at me. "Is it true? It's hard to believe." I was already in male defense mode, and it annoyed me. "Nevertheless, it's true. But don't worry, I want to find a good solution for everyone. I like you, and I don't want to cause problems. And you know what, I don't even know your name." Now she was laughing. She was really cute. My name is Alex. I'm Annie. It was nice having sex with you." We were all laughing now, Evan, Rachel. God, Annie is so cute in her own way. "Alex, did you have sex with her without protection, without even knowing her name?" Rachel said it quite lightly, and she amazed me with her calmness and acceptance of the situation. "Yes, it turns out that way." Rachel surprised me by seeming quite happy about the situation. "No problem, we will adopt her." "What?" I said. It wasn't the first shock of the evening, but it was the first that made me drop my fork in surprise. "Shut up, Alex. This is a woman's business. It still should have been my baby if I hadn't ruined everything." "Hey," I said, "I think I also have the right to vote." But I was largely ignored. Rachel had already decided what to do, and to be honest, I was secretly grateful for this because I had no idea how to handle the situation. "Okay, then you still won't be able to raise a child." I don't know. "But be that as it may, we cannot allow you to make any rash decisions during pregnancy. This may harm the baby." "Yes, you are right. The problem is that I never thought I would find myself in this situation. I tried again and again to make the right choice. I am ready to become a good mother, but I am afraid that I may not succeed. My life is completely ruined." Annie's mood became sad. She was on the verge of tears. Rachel looked worried, and I just felt overwhelmed. "And mine too. So keeping you away from any problems will be Alex's task. He is a father after all. You will live here. He'll make sure you stay safe during your pregnancy, and I'll stay in the shadows while you deal with your doubts. After that, I will adopt the child, and you will be free to do whatever you want." I was impressed by Rachel's willingness to adopt this child to solve my problem, fix the situation, and get me back. Still, I wasn't too happy about being dragged into a relationship with her in this way. Annie was as thoughtful as I was, but she came to a conclusion faster than I did. Agreed. Rachel extended her hand. Yes, Annie accepted her, and my fate seemed to be sealed. Of course, being a man, I immediately stood up and, well, I put the dishes away. The girls discussed what to do with their plan and with my life, and I was even glad of this, since at the moment I did not have enough brain resources for serious decisions. The next morning, Annie was moved into the guest bedroom, and Rachel staked her claim by staying in my apartment during the day as often as possible. I still wasn't sure how to feel about Rachel's speculation about us becoming a couple again, but for now I kept my thoughts to myself. I screwed up Annie, and at that moment I was just grateful that Rachel helped me with it. The next morning, we all worked together to move Annie's things from her what would you call it kind of place to my place. Annie's previous apartment was the kind of place where I would never leave my car. Wow, your life really was terrible, wasn't it? I asked her. Was it? Sounds like that's about to change. Yes, I was. And it's about to get worse. Hey, I'm not that bad. Have you heard about how difficult it is to live while expecting a child? You're not talking about food, right? Funny, she was completely serious. No, just read about it, okay? And then you better get your guest bedroom ready because I'm about to start getting nervous with all the changes. Expect a lot of questions and nerves. So yes, my life has been terrible and is about to become pure hell. I just hope my daughter appreciates this someday. Our daughter. What? Is it true? This tough girl suddenly seemed on the verge of tears. Our daughter, you are not alone in this. We did this together, literally. Oh, Alex, thank you. She ran into my arms and hugged me tightly, watching Rachel warily. Do you have a vacation? I can take unpaid leave. How much do you need? 2 weeks, I think. The first 3 days will be the worst. What should I expect? Only good things. Wonderful. The following weeks were very quiet in the Spencer home. Annie and I became amazingly close. Being there in such difficult moments really seems to have a strong bonding effect. We became closer every day. I even noticed some glances in my direction that may or may not have been willing. Honestly, I started to look at her the same way. Of course, Rachel still visited us regularly, and, watching us like a hawk, the changes were not lost on her. Alex, you are not developing any kind of love relationship with her, are you? I'm not sure, Rachel. We're really getting closer. She looked absolutely shocked. Alex, don't do this to me. I feel so close to finally getting you back. Rachel, you know that. Yes, yes, I know. I do not have rights. You can do whatever you want, but you know for sure that I still have hopes. Alex, I will fight for you. I won't give up even if it takes decades. I just sighed and put the question aside as Annie walked into the room. I knew Rachel was having a hard time, but I realized that I now considered Annie my girlfriend, and I was definitely a one-woman man. Annie and I became even closer while I made sure she stayed away from any stress, went to all kinds of checkups with her, bought tons of baby products, and did everything else parents do in preparation for the arrival of a new member of the human race. We acted like a normal couple, and at least for me, that's what it was. After our daughter Mel was born, everything became even clearer. Annie, Mel, and I were family, no doubt about it. All thoughts of giving Mel up for adoption seemed absurd. Of course, we were going to leave her. None of this was lost on Rachel during her frequent visits. Alex, I lost you forever, didn't I? Yes, Rachel. What we had died. Alex, please, she began to sob. It's unfair. I know I completely screwed up that damn weekend, but I really did my best to make things right. Is that supposed to mean something? I don't know if this is fair or not. You had me all to yourself, but you destroyed us for no reason. This meant that we were both free to pursue other relationships, and that is exactly what happened. This is not a question of fairness, and it was not intentional. There is no fixed price for what you did that weekend. You blew up our connection, and you never know in which direction such an explosion might scatter us. In my case, this led me to Annie. Alex. She sobbed openly. I walked over and hugged her. Rachel, you are still young, and you are beautiful. Go find the right man for you, and don't do anything stupid like that again, okay? No, Alex, I'll wait for you. No, do not do that. There's nothing you can do about it. I just sighed. She was right. If she decided to waste her life, it was pathetic, but there was nothing I could do about it. And that's how it ended with Rachel. It was sad because I once loved her and we could have been great with her. But I didn't love her anymore, and that was no longer the case. I was starting to fall in love with Annie. No, to be honest, I'm already completely in love with her. In her clumsy, naive, and charming way, her beautiful face, her complete devotion to me. She literally adored the soil I walked on. The biggest difference with Rachel was that I actually trusted Annie, which was weird. I trusted the woman who suddenly appeared in my life, but I could not trust my ex-fiancé who went crazy for just one weekend. In the following years, our modest civil wedding took place. We raised Mel and our lives gradually returned to normal. Rachel disappeared thankfully, and there were no more unpleasant situations. Life with Annie wasn't always easy, of course. She still had severe mood swings, but I knew her well by then and dealt with it well. Deep and complete mutual love, of course, helped. Mel was fantastic. She was the light in my eyes and made me dance to her tune. The end came shortly after Mel's second birthday. I just put Mel to bed while Annie was still in town shopping. Mel tired me out again, and I just collapsed on the couch, ready to mindlessly stare at the TV. As usually happens, the moment my ass hit the couch, the doorbell rang. Reluctantly, I stood up. I opened the door and saw two policemen. "Good evening. How can I help?" "Good evening, Mr. Spencer. My name is Sergeant Jacobs. Are you married to Annie Spencer?" "So what happened?" I suddenly became worried. "Mr. Spencer, I'm sorry to tell you that we found your wife dead. Could you come with us?" The rest of what he said was lost on me. I just fell to the floor. "I kissed her goodbye just 2 hours ago. It was the last time. Will she never come back? Will I never hear her laugh again? Will I never kiss her again? Never hear her swear because she stubbed her toe? Never again will I feel her clinging to my neck? Will I never smell her? Annie, where are you now? What happened here? Why?" I was shaken by a police officer an unspecified amount of time later. "Mr. Spencer, are you okay? Should we call an ambulance?" "What? No, no need. It turned out that she died suddenly from an aneurysm. I had no idea that she was suffering from anything like that. One of the policemen told me that he knew her. In a slightly rude, indifferent tone, he told me that she looked happy and healthy, that such cases are rare, but they do happen, that they are almost sure that it was instantaneous and she did not suffer. I was shocked. I never suspected. For several days, I was absolutely devastated, unable to work and barely able to care for my daughter Mel. A week after her death, I was again sitting on my sofa, mindlessly staring at the TV, crying occasionally, feeling sad and completely unable to cope with the situation, the emotions, and the practical aspects. Mel was crying again, which had been the norm lately. Losing my beloved Annie not only destroyed me, but also led to practical problems. My vacation was quickly ending, and I needed to return to work soon. How can I deal with Mel, my daughter? I had no parents to rely on and no other relatives nearby. Nanny, could I hire someone? Could I trust anyone? Somehow, most of the people I chose to trust were deceiving me in some way. I realized that my doorbell had been ringing for some time. Crap. I have to do something about this, right? Mel was also crying. What could I do? I just tried to feed her and completely failed at trying to get her to sleep afterwards. I just couldn't handle it alone. I felt overwhelmed by my new position. Okay, what now? Door or chalk? I had no idea what to do with Mel anyway. The door, on the other hand, promised a clear plan of action. Go up to it, open it, see who is standing there. I could do it, and I did it, and I immediately regretted it. No please, no further complications in my life, and so everything was quite complicated. Please, not Rachel. No, was all I could say in a hoarse voice. Boy, you look terrible. I'm so sorry, Alex. She just hugged me for a while. Strange, but I didn't feel anything. 2 years was a long time, of course. But this was the woman I almost married, the one who betrayed me in the most terrible way. Shouldn't I have felt at least some emotion when I saw her for the first time in years? I felt bad and uncaring about it, but maybe I was just exhausted. She didn't seem to notice or care. She finally let go of me and carried the large bags she had brought with her past me into Mel's room. Hey. I closed the door and followed her limply, too tired to do anything about it. She took Mel from the crib, rocked her a little, and sang a soft melody. Wow, I was impressed. Mel began to calm down. After a while, she seemed to be completely satisfied, which amazed me. Rachel carefully placed her back in the bed and covered her with the blanket. She then simply walked into the kitchen as if it was her place and began unpacking her bags. She began to prepare food for Mel. How are you? I read everything. What? When? When I found out about Annie's death. I knew right away that you were going to be in trouble, Alex. She told me this quite calmly, minding her own business, but from time to time she glanced quickly at me, which indicated that she was not as relaxed as she tried to seem. Do you still live here in the area? Of course, I didn't move anywhere. And to answer your questions, no, I'm not dating anyone right now. Yes, I've been following you. No, I haven't been with a man since that damn weekend I ruined my life. Now she turned to face me. Yes, I still love you. She had tears in her eyes as she literally ran out of the room. I followed her into Mel's room and watched as she gently rocked and fed her. Damn, why wasn't Mel crying anymore? Usually, when I tried to do something like this, the whole neighborhood needed hearing aids. What's your plan? I asked as I watched Rachel take care of Mel. Alex, I will take care of you. I will always be there for you, always. I kept a low profile so as not to interfere with your marriage. But now that you're in trouble, I need to intervene. Wow, quite a strong statement. This woman had clearly decided to dedicate her life to me, which was quite a humbling thought. Was this love, or did she simply feel guilty enough to act this way without feeling love? I mean, wait patiently for 2 years, and then immediately step in to help. Those 2 years must have been pure hell for her, watching me with another woman. Take care? What do you mean? I asked, unable to cope with the situation. I quit my job. What? How else could I take care of you and Mel? Do you need a full-time nanny? And Mel too, Rachel smiled, and I surprised myself by laughing too. For the first time in a long time, it seemed. Perhaps you're right. Have you eaten anything? Oh, I don't remember. He probably ate. Okay, Mel is full. Now I will take care of you. What? Just sit on your couch, okay? Cold. And that's exactly what I did. I realized that I am truly grateful. Just having someone there to talk to and ward off the loneliness and helplessness was a big relief. I heard her clinking pots and pans and preparing something to eat. After some time, she appeared again. Are you feeling better? Yes, less lonely. And you're right, I need a nanny. Thank you. What about your job? Alex, I didn't have a life for 2 years. I didn't go out, I didn't buy almost anything. I just lived in my small apartment. The only thing I spent money on was the gym. You, in the gym? Yes, I wanted to look. Well, I'll explain that later. Yes, now I see it. You really look good. Thank you. So, I saved a lot of money for such a case. Now I can live almost a year without work. I think during this time, we will decide what to do next. Oh, that was my answer. A conversation about someone feeling like a naval log and not knowing what to do or say. Yes, oh, so I will take care of you. In a year, you will decide what to do with your life. Maybe you'll find a new woman. Maybe you'll consider other options. She smiled slightly. Oh, I need to get started on our dinner. Dinner was delicious, and I thanked her profusely again. After that, I had a strong desire to fall into my bed and sleep for at least a week. Oh no, mister, you won't go to bed without taking a shower and brush your teeth, okay? Yes, Mom, which earned me a light blow to the ribs. But I knew she was right. Body hygiene hasn't been high on my list of priorities lately. When I stepped out of the shower, I found my bed freshly made. Annie was the last one to cover her, I realized sadly. I wrapped myself in the blankets under Rachel's watching smile and thought about Annie. I couldn't help thinking that our love might have been a complete illusion. Is it possible to love a person you only know partially? So I only loved parts of her. She obviously didn't trust me or love me enough to fully open up to me. I opened my eyes soon after and was surprised to find breakfast waiting for me on the nightstand. I was even more surprised that I slept through the night, something unheard of since Annie's death. How did Rachel manage to keep Mel quiet for many hours? I realized that she was not only determined to improve my life, but also quite capable of doing so. I decided to take advantage of the breakfast offered, and it was nice to have something filling again. After a while, Rachel entered the room, humming happily and holding a sleeping Mel in her arms. She made it look so easy, I thought. Can a child really replace a mother so quickly? One thing was clear, I couldn't replace Annie in the same way. I still couldn't come to terms with Annie's death and her sudden departure, and it still hurt a lot. I was grateful for Rachel's willingness to help me, but I was far from feeling a special connection with her. "Do you feel better?" she asked, sitting down next to him. "Physically, yes, thank you. Emotionally, I'm still overwhelmed. I don't understand how this could happen. Are you talking about Annie's death?" Mel was still completely calm and unbothered by our conversation, which was another complete mystery to me. About everything that happened in my life, to be honest. Our weekend trip, your betrayal, my escape, Annie's sudden appearance in my life, my sudden fatherhood, Annie's death, your return here. I feel like half the time I'm drifting, half the time I'm being pushed, but always it's like I'm stumbling through my life without any will of my own. "Alex, if you want me to leave, I will leave. I will be terribly offended, but I don't want to impose. No, don't get me wrong. You helped me a lot. Please stay." She simply smiled, nodded, and left me alone. It looked suspiciously like a tear escaping her eye. I returned to work a few days later because I was confident that Rachel had no problem taking charge of the house. She really seemed to enjoy this position and handled it perfectly, taking care of everything, including my emotional instability, but staying away when needed. She never tried to kiss me, and I appreciated that, but she did hug me a lot when I was down. She was selfless, caring, and empathetic. She was the best friend I ever needed in a situation where I needed it. In short, she was wonderful. "Alex, I need to visit my parents for the weekend. They need my help. Almost 2 months have passed since Annie's death. Do you think you can stay alone for a few days?" she asked one evening. Could I? Yes, most likely. I felt stronger and more stable again. But did I want to? No, I suddenly realized. Her leaving for a few days felt wrong for some reason. Not because of any practical issues, but because I wanted her there. No, because I needed her presence. This realization was unexpected, and I was at a loss. She looked at me with surprise on her face. She seemed surprised for a few seconds, then a huge smile appeared on her face. "Yes, yes, yes," she exclaimed, waving her small fist in the air. "Hooray." She threw herself into my arms and clung to me like a burdock. I was still confused, but I realized that I had made a decision. There was no point in denying it anymore. I still loved her somehow. The feeling just lay there while it was buried under all the pain and stress. She felt encouraged enough to give me my first real kiss in years, and I was amazed that it felt so right. Was she still my woman? Has she been like this all along? What about Annie? Was she just a replacement? Or was Rachel now a replacement? Did it matter if it just felt right? Probably not. She finally let go of my neck and began to drag me into the bedroom, emitting short bursts of joy. And I realized that I was smiling widely too. Suddenly all was right with the world again. The sex was a little awkward, but it didn't bother either of us. We were both just happy to be together again and held each other for a long time afterwards, her tears moistening my chest. "Just don't hurt me anymore, okay?" "Never, Alex. Never again. We both suffered because of my stupidity. But it was not in vain. We have a beautiful daughter, and you will get a better Rachel than I could have been back then. I promise you, I will be the best friend you have ever had. Fine. So what do we agree on then? You will go to your parents for the weekend, but not a minute longer. And from now on, this is our bedroom again. The three of us will be one family. I didn't have time to finish this because she drowned me out with a loud kiss, which was quite normal for me. After this unexpected turn of events, we lived like a typical small family. Marriage was never mentioned, nor were children. Mel naturally called Rachel Mom. We decided not to tell her the truth until she came of age, and perhaps not even then. There was simply no need. We were happy the way it was. Alex, you know I totally love Mel, don't you? Rachel asked one day while we were sitting on the couch. Certainly. I looked at her expectantly. It was clear that this was not all she wanted to say. I love her like my own child. I know, yes, and I am very happy that you feel this way. Yes, but one day I would like to have your child too. I was so jealous of Annie because of this. I thought about this for a while. Well, why not? She still stayed home to take care of Mel. We pooled our finances a long time ago and lived on my income. What? She reacted very emotionally, stood up and looked at me with tears in her eyes. She almost looked scared. What was happening here? Why shouldn't she have a child if she wants it? I was a little puzzled by her strong reaction because I just didn't see the problem. We already lived like a family. Well, what's the problem, Rachel? Do you trust me enough to have a child with me? Good question. Did I trust? No problem. I realize that I trust her again. She has proven a lot lately. Yes, I trust. Oh, Alex. And here she is again, Rachel the burdock. She clung to me and began to sob. I was still a little confused by her reaction, but it definitely felt good. Thanks, Alex. Rachel, calm down. I'm grateful that you asked first and didn't try to trick me into getting pregnant. No, no, she interrupted me. I would never do this. Yes, I know. And I really did. So let's do it if you want. How many children do you want? Let's start with one. I need to get rid of the pills in my system, but we can start training now. And that's exactly what we did. Our dinner was finished. Today, I insisted on making it myself, and I did a great job. Candles, white tablecloth, 3 dishes. Rachel was pleasantly surprised, but became a little nervous while eating. I didn't usually do this, and she started to get suspicious. I needed to act quickly to maintain the element of surprise. I walked around the table and knelt down as her jaw dropped in surprise. I rummaged in my pocket. Rachel. Yes, you will marry. Yes, yes, Alex. Hooray, Alex, of course, I'll come out. Marry me. And I was smothered in a huge kiss as I fell backwards under the weight of her pregnant body. Thank you, Rachel. Are you kidding? Are you thanking me? I thank you and will continue to do so until the end of my days. And you know, you still have that contract. I have it, but I don't think I'll need it anymore. You won't use it. Oh, and Rachel, there is one more thing. It concerns Mel. She needs her mother. But she already has a mother. Yes, but not officially. Rachel looked at me, and to my surprise, she started crying. Boy, you're lucky today, she said between sobs, and for the rest of my life. So we're back to now. I'm lying by the pool in our backyard, my beautiful wife sending me loving glances as I play with our son. The wedding was a low-key affair and took place just in time for her overjoyed father to see her before he lost his battle with cancer. Before the wedding, I waited in vain for signs that the madness would return. Rachel knew I was thinking about it and just smiled. It won't happen, Alex. Not this time. I've learned my lesson. She was right. I just hope this whole marriage has been less difficult for others. I always knew the procedure would be difficult and tedious, but Rachel's version and mine seem a little over the top. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one.